Hey folks, this is Gregory Robinson, author of Time Machine, and this is our Wisdom Wednesday. Wanted to come to you guys today and tell you about something that actually happened to my wife the other evening. She had a couple of items that she needed to get, and she ran out just real quick to go grab them. And she was going to go to the local grocery store, but ran across one of the local convenience store slash pharmacies, and figured she could get what she needed in there, and just was like, so she ran in there instead of going to the big grocery store. And while she was standing in line, she was behind a lady who had a couple of children, and my wife went on to describe that the children were well behaved, they were quiet, and the mother was actually picking them out, allowing them to pick out a couple of pieces of candy in the checkout. And as she began to swipe her card, it declined 2-3 times. Then the lady reached into her purse and realized that she only had about $1 in cash on her. And my wife felt led and did go ahead and pay for the lady's stuff. She had a few, household items, milk and that kind of stuff, and a prescription. And of course the couple of pieces of candy that the children had picked out. But she felt led to take care of this lady's need at the time. And it wasn't much, it was, $25 or less. So it wasn't a huge thing, but it was the right thing to do. And she told me about this when she got home, and how the people in line and even the cashier were so amazed. Like they kind of were looking at her like she had a frog on her face. They just kept going, "Are you sure? Are you sure?" And the cashier was like, "Are you sure you want to do this?" And it just threw everybody in line for a loop. And each generation complains about how the world has declined since they were young. We fall into pondering, what's this world coming to, and where did it all go wrong, and that kind of thing. And everybody's got their opinions on that. But the answer to the more important question is, how do we get back or improve it? And the answer is simple, but it's not easy. And that's what I wanted to talk to you about today. No matter what your faith, no matter what your belief system, you can't deny that the Bible is the best-selling book of all times, and will continue to be the best-selling book of all times. It's been translated in more languages and distributed to the farthest corners of the world, and there's no book that's ever going to overcome it as far as sales or distribution. And you just cannot deny that. And the reason it's the best-selling book in the world is because, quite honestly, the words in here are alive. They will speak to you if you let them. And I wanted to just read you a small section from Matthew chapter 22 that's definitely my favorite portion of the Bible. And it says, "But when the Pharisees heard that Jesus had silenced the Sadducees, they gathered themselves together. One of them, a lawyer, asked him a question, testing him. 'Teacher, which is the greatest commandment in the law?' And he said to them, 'You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with your soul, and with all your mind. This is the greatest and foremost commandment. The second is like it, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. On these two commandments depend the whole law and the prophets.'" And so the law and the prophets, if you don't know, is the Old Testament. That's what they called them. So basically, the whole Old Testament is summed up in 53 words. That's what Jesus is saying. And I would actually go a little bit further to say that the New Testament embodies those two same principles and ideas. They deal with, in fact, all the commandments deal with our relationship to God and our relationship with our fellow man. That is quite simply what they are. And we tend to complicate things. We can't accept that things are that easy, that if you could do those two things, and love the Lord your God and love your neighbor as yourself, then everything else will fall into place. But it is that simple. We're told over and over again to feed the hungry, clothe the naked, and generally help the needy. So you don't have to go to extremes. You don't have to go and sell your house and give all your money away and everything. Although, if you're led to do that, that's you got to follow your heart. But it's simple things like seeing a need and filling it, just like my wife did. She came home and she just was glowing, and she was just telling me, that just felt so good, and not in a prideful way, not in I'm better than everybody else because I'm taking care of people, but as to she felt a need, she felt led to, or she saw a need, she felt led to fill that need, and she followed through with it. And basically, she followed what Jesus is saying right here. And that is why she feels good. Because when we do what we were made to do, which is to love the Lord our God with all our heart, soul, and mind, and then our neighbor as ourselves, when we do that, that's how we were designed to live. And that will make you feel good. Try it out. See if it doesn't change your life. I would also encourage you to read this book. Again, greatest selling book of all times. Billions and billions of people can't be wrong. It is alive. It will speak to you. And I hope and pray that you will spend some time actually reading the Word. This has been our Wisdom Wednesday. And I hope you have a wonderful day. And I hope the good Lord blesses you today. Have a good one.